Hello everybody. Thank you so much for following us on Soma Bible channel. If this is the first time to watch us, please subscribe in order to get notified when a new video is released. We have very interesting tithe for you. The tithing contract. Dear listeners, the verse to be retained in this lesson is found in Malachi chapter 3 verse 10. Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and try me now in this, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it. In Malachi 3 verse 10, God proposed a contract with his people, bring me the tithes, and I will bless you. Is this a contract for the people of Israel only? The question is, are Christians excluded from the benefits of that contract? The response is that we are not. Therefore, we must thoroughly study how to fulfill our part of the contract. In this lesson, we will discuss following points. What is the tithe? How should it be given? How should it be used? What must be tithed? And faithful tithing. Let us see point number 1. What is the tithe? Let us read in Nehemiah chapter 10 verse 37. For the Levites should receive the tithes in all our farming communities. Tithe is the tenth or 10% of something. For example, the tithe of $340 is $34. It's that simple. The tithe is mentioned for the first time when Abraham and his allies defeated the kings who had taken the people of Sodom as prisoners. Genesis 14 verse 17 to 20. Jacob mentioned it for the second time in the Bible in Genesis 28 verse 20 to 22. Paul explained that Levi, whose tribe would receive the tithe eventually, also paid tithes in Hebrews 7 verse 9. Giving God the tenth of everything we get is a law that was established long before the Sinai laws. Therefore, it's valid for believers of all times, not just the Hebrews. How should it be given? Malachi gives us a good response on this. Bring the full amount of your tithes to the temple, so that there will be plenty of food there. The Bible talks about multi-year special tithes that had to be given to the poor. However, the regular tithe had to be given always to the temple treasury, as it is written in Malachi chapter 3 verse 10 and Nehemiah chapter 12 verse 44. Actually, the treasury or storehouse was a special room attached to the temple where tithes were stored. When people lived too far away to carry the tithe of their sheep, grain, or fruits, they gave the equivalent cost instead. Nowadays, the tithe is given in the local churches. Then, it is sent to the treasury of their conference, union, or mission. How should it be used? For the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer up as a heave offering to the Lord, I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. Numbers 18 verse 24. The tithes were meant to support the Levites. They also gave the tithe of those tithes to the priests. The Levites and priests were in charge of the religious services full-time. This is the reason why the tithes are currently used to support the pastors and lay workers who are employed by the church. Besides, our trust in God is strengthened when we give the 10% of our income, as we believe that He will bless the remaining 90%. So what must be tithed? And of all that you give me I will surely give a tenth to you. Genesis 28 verse 22. The goods that Abraham tithed applies to animals, food, and such valuable items as gold, silver, and clothes. These were goods he did not possess before, thus indicating an increase. Therefore, tithe should be calculated on all financial and asset gains. We must set our tithe aside as soon as we receive our income. It is God's, and He must be first in our lives. We shouldn't use our income until we've fulfilled our commitment with God. Remember the story of the widow of Zarephath, who took care of God's prophet first. Later she always had enough food. Last point. Faithful tithing. Moreover, it is required in stewards that one be found faithful. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 2. It is required in stewards that one be found faithful. Let us review the contract of the tithe. First, the amount, the exact 10% of all our income. No more and no less. We must set that amount aside before using our income for other purposes. We need to bring it to the treasury of the church, indicating it is a tithe and not an offering. The tithe will be used for its rightful purpose, which is supporting the workers employed by the church. We show our faithfulness to God by fulfilling the first 3 requirements. The fourth depends on the faithfulness of the church administrators. Being a steward of the Lord is a privilege and a responsibility that brings blessings. Dear listeners, God's plan in the tithing system is beautiful in its simplicity and equality. All may feel that they can act a part in carrying forward the precious work of salvation. Every man, woman, and youth may become a treasurer for the Lord and may be an agent to meet the demands upon the treasury. Let each regularly examine his income, which is all a blessing from God, and set apart the tithe as a separate fund, to be sacredly the Lord's. This fund should not in any case be devoted to any other use, it is to be devoted solely to support the ministry of the gospel. Dear listeners, this is the end of this lesson. God bless you and hope to meet you again in next week's lesson.